We're going to print the ISU-152, and the particularity of this one is the different model you can have. There's two models here, one with fuel tank on top and 2 jerrycans of smoke in the back. The same for this one. And the third one is a bit different. There's absolutely no fuel tank or smoke canister in the back. So 3 models of ISU-152. I use 71081 OCHRE for the color of the ISU-152. And then I'm going to show you which other color I use for the rotor wheel, the track, etc. on the vehicle. So let's start. So the first thing I usually do is paint the rotor wheel. The reason for that is even if I paint on the track, when I paint the track, it won't be seen. And if I do the reverse, you're going to see the brush paint on the track of the rubber black. So that's why I put it first. And also that's the deeper one. So it makes sense also to do them first and go to the edge. As you can see, some are broken, rotor wheel. The reason for that is because it's a printer and it prints the tank standing up. There's no support for the plastic when it is installed, and because there's no support and it's really hot, it's soft, it just hang a bit off compared to the top where it goes really easy. But with weathering and a bit of paint, and on the table when you're 4 feet away, you don't see that. And also in real life, some rotor wheels are broken and it still continue for the vehicle. So that's rotor wheel or paint. I'm going to finish all 3 tanks, and then we're going to do painting the track. Well, the next step after the rotor wheel is to paint the track, and for that I use dark iron XF84 from Tamiya to paint all my track. That's the first coat. After that I'm going to use some other color, but that's the first basic color for my track, dark iron. And I just apply everywhere underneath the track, on top of the track, because there's a good space, and inside the track and everywhere there's track. So I'm gonna just finish that. Again, it's really easy. Mistakes are not really important at this stage, as they are track, and if you put some dirt or anything like that, all those paint mistake will not be seen. And as well, if you do some good weather, you can make some correction at the end. So here's my track. I'll finish on this side and on the other side. So the first layer for my track is done. Then the next step would be the exhaust system is to be done, and the tool as well. But basically the 2 main parts, the rotor wheel, the track, are not completely done because the track is the first step. Now to continue around the track and on the track, I'm going to use Vallejo 70864. It's natural steel. I put some highlight on the track, also the track in front, the spare track in front here. Underneath I don't, because you don't really see it. On the back here also highlight along the track at some point. You can be generous or not depending on how you feel. I'm gonna finish here. The rear return wheel is usually just metal, so I'm gonna give a good natural steel look. And also in the back, the traction wheel, because they run on the track, metal on metal, I'm going to just paint them steel. And the teeth, you can just put some add on it. So here you go. You have some highlight of natural steel on the track. The return wheel and the traction wheel are with steel. And I'll do that to all the other vehicles before I come back and we continue with the next step. So for the tools, because the track are finished, we have to do the tools. the exhaust system and then do some weathering to highlight some wear and tear on the vehicle. So I'm going to use Pinzer Ace 70310 old wood from Vallejo for the wood piece on the tools. As you can see here there's like the attachment to the vehicle for the shovel, and on the shovel itself there's another piece of metal. So just make sure that when you paint, you let them the color of the vehicle. You can paint them, but if you feel able to, just let them. So when you look at the tools, you can see the attachment. So the tool doesn't seem to float on the vehicle, but really attached to the vehicle. On the pick, it's really near the pick itself, so I'm going to paint. Even if I touch the metal, when I paint the metal, it won't be seen because the part of the wood is so small, the brush won't be able to paint it. And you paint over, you can still use the color you paint your tank to make the correction. Here you go. So the wood is paint. I just need to paint the metal, and for that I'm going to use black. Now the wood part is done. It's time to do the metal part. I'm going to use Vallejo 70950. It's a black color. I'm not too fancy about color for the metal part, so black is good enough for me. I got to start with the pick. Like I said earlier, the little piece that was painted in wood and will be covered with the black. And I just try to not just do the top of the tools, but the side as well, so it's looked like a bit more 3D, like it is on it. Then on this side you have the shovel to do, and the attachment for the shovel pass right in the middle of the piece of metal. So that's why I'm gonna let arc green on the shovel like that. Sounds about right. And then there's torsion bar here. Oops. And I just do the bottom of it, and that will complete all the tools. Not many tools, not many stuff to paint and extra. Don't forget that most of the time during the war, it's pretty much one color fit all. So when they paint the tank, the entire vehicle is painted one time with one color. So here we go. The tools are paint. Track is paint. Road wheel up paint. The only thing left to do is to do some weathering on the vehicle or the exhaust system too, with the rust, and then weathering of the vehicle. Basically, to finish the paint before we do weathering, I'm going to use for the exhaust system Panzer Ace light rust, the same rust color than on the track. So it's a light rust, 70301 from Vallejo. We're going to just go from the outside. The front part here is a protective metal piece, so it doesn't rust as much as this part here where the heat is really high and the paint will not stick to it. So to the other side. Okay, so far we did the rotor wheel, the return wheel, the track. We put 3 colors on the track: dark iron, natural steel, and rust. We paint the tools and we paint the exhaust system. So we just have to make some paint to show wear and tear on some part of the vehicle, because for example on the side here those troops hang to it while the vehicle is in movement. Also in the back they walk on the vehicle, so they might have some scratch and might have some rust on the vehicle. So we're going to do some weathering and that will complete painting of those vehicles. Just before I start to do the weathering on the vehicle, I decided to put some writing on the side of the vehicle, some slogan. The reason for that I'm going to put slogan instead of a star is the star are mostly used for Lend-Lease vehicle or capture vehicle. So in this case, to help me to identify the lead vehicle for the platoon, I decided to put a slogan on the side of the vehicle. For that, I use gloss varnish from Vallejo, and it's 26650, the code for it, and that will make sure that when I install the slogan, the paint doesn't go away. For that, I'm going to use microscale, microset setting solution for decals to install on the side of the vehicle. So first I just need to put some microset on the side of the vehicle where I want it, and then I just need to cite the slogan on it. When it's on the vehicle, I'm going to just straighten it a bit. You don't really need to do that because it was mostly handwriting, so it can be a bit everywhere on the vehicle on any angle. So one side, do the same on the other side. And to make sure, I'm going to let it dry a few minutes. And when it's dry, I'm going to use again some varnish to put on over the decal to make sure it stays on the side of the vehicle. Here's my slogan on both sides of the vehicle, and that's complete putting decals on the vehicle. So now the decals are installed, I'm going to use that sponge that I cut just for a little piece. I'm going to use black paint. I'm going to apply black paint on the sponge, then clean it, most of it, so there's only few that will drip on it, and apply it. The reason for that, for the decal to be on, is when you put the black and sometimes it's over the paint, that the paint is also removed there, so that's the reason for it, and you just have to apply it where most likely the crew will walk, or the crew will work on it and that's too much, you can remove it later on and just do some, especially in front where the track is, touching with the mud guard. And you just play like that until you're happy with what you see. And all along the track I like to use some, because the track will hit the side, or the side will be hit by object. There you go, and when you're happy, you just have to stop. There's too much here, you can remove it. Just a bit of water or a remover for the paint, and just remove it. So it's really important you do some application of sealer for the paint, so that way when you put that and it's too much, you can remove, and the sealer will protect. The paint. There you go. So I'll do the other thing. Now that I apply some black color for the weathering, you can use gray or any other color that's all to you. I like to use some rust a bit, especially where the mud guards are and on the side. Not much on top, maybe a bit on the fuel tank, but most of the time the crew make sure there's no rust. But the dirt or some chip will appear time to time. So I'm gonna just use the sponge, same rust color than for an exhaust system, for example. So it's a Panzer Ace 301 light rust color I'm gonna use. I put some on the sponge, remove the excess, so it's just little spot, and then I apply on the mud guard, especially in front like that, on both sides, because that's most difficult for a crew to take care, because it's always breaking, always receive rock or hit by the track itself, on the back here too. Not too much, just a bit, and on the side here, because the track will always hit the side. So just a few spots like that, and do on the other side. I don't want too much rust, just a bit. Then you can do the same for inside the road wheel. And that's it. I don't need to do that much more. Oh, I forgot. I like to do some on the gas tank, as the crew will work lots and refueling and so on, spending time to refuel. There you go. So just a bit, not too much. You can remove the excess with a remover for the alcohol remover for the paint. So that's the weathering I'm gonna do for this vehicle. Now that is all the weathering where the some chipping is done. I like to do some dust effect. For that, I'm gonna use AK Interactive dust effect, and it is a liquid one. Also, you can find it in powder. Usually I use that on the vehicle itself because it just little change the color, but I want on the track, road wheel, and inside a bit more thicker dust effect, a bit more darker. Also, what you can do is use Pigment Binder. It's liquid and it acts like a gel, so you apply some inside the track, for example, then you use the powder and you apply it to it, and it will become like a piece of mud stuck in between. Also, I intend to use Vallejo Pigment Carbon Black, Smoke Black, to go around the exhaust system. I'm gonna apply that and then apply the dust at the end, so it kind of a mix of black smoke and dirt And also the fact that it's all diesel vehicle, it's really important to have some black, because most of the time you will have some black of the smoke from the exhaust system. So let's start with the liquid one, dust effect, to do under the track and then inside the track. And I don't worry, I'm pretty generous. I'm gonna let it dry after that. Really easy to remove. And also, if you don't put a sealer, then when you use the vehicle to play your game, your finger will remove all the dust. So it's really important when you're done and you're happy with the dust effect, use a sealer to seal everything. So that way it will stay and will keep the effect of dust on the vehicle. So I wanted a bit darker and more dust on the track and inside. So I just run it along it. Also on the track. And like I said, because it's a liquid and it's not bind to it, just by your finger or a brush, a dry brush, you're going to remove most of the dust. So if you think you have too much, then you can use a brush and remove the excess. So that's why I'm pretty generous on it. The front, it's always dusty, and in the back. So we will let it dry and see what we do with pigment and the powder dust. Now some dust has been applied to the track. You can see there's not much left of the liquid one, so I'm going to use some pigment to add some, and also I'm going to use that pigment binder to make it more like clog of mud inside the track. So what you do is you just take some on your brush and you just brush where you think it would be a deposit. And because it's not attached to it, to the vehicle, you can brush it off, most of it. So you just put some, so it just give you some highlight of accumulation dust, more place than others, so you can brush it. As you can see, you get some, but you can remove most of it. And you do your vehicle as you like. So if you prefer to have not too much dust on the vehicle, you just apply less or you don't apply any. And if you just want to have some, and then where you think it will accumulate more, you can let it there by just putting some a bit everywhere. And like I said, if you have another brush, you can just brush it off until you're satisfied with it. Also, if you got some space, you think there's going to be accumulation of dust or gravel, you just let it there. So you just do that, making my way to the back. And that's why I try to brush it from front to back, so the dust, like in real life, the dust will just slide on the vehicle and will stick to some place and not others, and give an effect of different level of dust accumulation. Also, you can, like with another brush, remove the excess if you think there's too much. It's a pigment, so it just like little dust, it will go away if you don't protect it. That's why the sealer, that's why I use that sealer here, matte, so it keeps the dust on, so when you play, it will not stick to your finger and you find yourself with no dust effect. So now I'm done pretty good with, I'm gonna use some, where's that one? Carbon black smoke pigment. And what you do is you use them to go where the exhaust system is, because it's a diesel, so most of the time it will accumulate. And also I like to do it where the muzzle brake is. And again, it's like the dust. It doesn't stick or really stick to it, so depending how much brush you want to do. But I don't want it to be all black, but just like it is black because you fire some shot has been clean, but as much as you want to clean carbon like that, it's never really clean. And then it gives you an effect of a bit black, but not too much. And with the dust around, it just shows a bit more. It's dark, but you can see the dust have some effect on it too. So that's the idea of it's darker because of the diesel engine, but it doesn't overwhelm the color. Also, don't forget to put dust on the gun itself. Like I said, if there's too much, you can still use another brush and remove the excess. So there's just a fine coat of dust on the vehicle. Now, if you find there's not enough dirt and you want to have some mud, use something like Pigment Binder. You just apply to it where you think it will be a more accumulation of dirt, and then you take your brush and you can see how it binds to the brush, and you can see right away the effect of more dust on the road wheel. It's perfect if you have bad paint. It will hide most of the mistake you make. And you just have to let it dry this way. So when I'm done here to do the weathering, I'm going to put the sealer on it, and I'm going to show you the final project. Also, I'm going to do all the battery with it, so you can see all three vehicles done. Having said that, that completes my video about the ISU-152 that I print, paint, and do the weathering. I hope it's not too difficult to follow the step-by-step. I hope you enjoy. I'll see you soon with my next video. So thank you for watching. Bye-bye.